I'm your host, Sienna Chanel, and this is Newark in 10. This year's Sing in Praise of King featured Angela Rye as guest speaker, along with Delilah Benjamin, Fire, and Corinne Hawthorne as special guests.
So it's with deep pleasure that we are here this evening in Newark, the state's largest city, celebrating the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King once again. And at some point, we have to move from just celebrating King's legacy to start building on it. We have to celebrate King differently. We have to celebrate King by acting, by developing an offensive strategy, by looking to help each other, not destroy each other. We have to have the mind to build.
Dr. King says people hate each other because they fear each other. And they fear each other because they don't know each other. And they don't know each other because they don't communicate. And they don't communicate because they are not connected. Say, love and connect with your neighbor. The aftermath of nonviolence is redemption. The aftermath of nonviolence is reconciliation. The aftermath of violence is emptiness and bitterness. Our only hope today lies in our ability to recapture the revolutionary spirit, lead the revolution, stop waiting for it.
Yeah, right now, he wants to praise you. Right now, he wants to keep you. Right now, he wants to love you. Right now, he wants to lift you up. Right now.
Any worshipers in the building on tonight? I just need like 2 more minutes of worship from y'all because I believe that God wants to do something special in this building on tonight. Hands lifted all over the building. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. The presence of the Lord is in this building. I don't want you to miss what God has for you on tonight. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I believe in the plans you have for me. We thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Mayor Baraka joined statewide representatives to speak on the topic, where we are with issues and where do we go from here? Answers and solutions.
So when I think about Dr. King on this very special day, there are so many ways to think about him. He died on the verge of helping workers to ultimately organize. So we recognize those workers and his legacy in that regard. But also, in addition to the social justice that he promoted, I think about the economic agenda that he had.
We have to create opportunities for black candidates and employees. I think too many of the black community are getting shut out of the best opportunities. And when they are getting those opportunities, we're not giving them the mentorship and apprenticeship that they need to succeed.
And so not only did we give people loans and train them, we're giving small businesses loans and putting them in shared spaces and keeping them there for a year until they can get their revenue and things together.
We should never forget how we got where we are. Somebody should be clapping by now. We should never forget how we got where we are.
Mayor Baraka is keynote speaker of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Eta Pi Chapter 32nd Annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Breakfast.
On behalf of Eta Pi Chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, I would just like to take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you to the 32nd Annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Breakfast.
They had taken the entire Supreme Court while rolling back any sentiment of criminal justice reform and creating an atmosphere of violence and hatred. Now, I'm not so much worried about Donald Trump as I'm about the 60 million Americans who heard and saw his behavior and voted for him anyway. If I called everybody together to complain about what's going on in our community, we have a crowded room. If I have a meeting the next day about what we're going to do about it, the room gets smaller. And then if I have a meeting the next day after that about who's going to volunteer to lead what we talked about doing, the room will get even smaller than that. We have to have the mind to build, not just understand or quote Dr. King, we have to do what Dr. King did. A lot of us quote Dr. King every day. We're very proficient in mocking the words that Dr. King said, but we have very little practice in doing what Dr. King did.
The Newark Public Library presents the James Brown African American Room Grand Opening Celebration.
My name is Dale Colston, and I'm the librarian for this space, the James Brown African American Room.
The dedication, I think, is a fitting testimony to the impact that James Brown had and continues to have on our community, and I appreciate that you've all braved this cold and possibly snowy January night to come out to celebrate the man and his impressive legacy. I'm sure that James is smiling on us now.
James Brown dedicated, almost 30 years of his life to this institution. He wasn't just an academic. He didn't like black people for academic reasons. He was deeply involved in the struggles of our people here and wanted other people to know about that, and more importantly, to document that and make sure that there are other people behind them would be able to read about that and understand life of real Americans. It's important to know that African American history is American history.
Rhonda Hamilton, host of WBGO, invites Mayor Baraka for a jazz show featuring the mayor's favorite jazz music.
I use music to write. I use it to write whether I'm writing poetry or speeches, to think. It kind of draws pictures for me, allows me to connect history, connect time. All of those things. Even before I give like a big speech, I listen to my headphones. I listen to music there, mostly, jazz, blues, gospel, those kind of mixes in there, more powerful, deep kind of thinking music, yeah.
I remember reading that you said that WBGO was the only radio station that played in your home. You didn't think there was anything else.
I didn't know any other radio stations.
But, for you and your generation, was hip-hop the music that really spoke to you?
It spoke to us deeply because the messages kind of highlighted what we were experiencing and are experiencing in this country still, and the music is a part of that, and all of the samples are from the music that we're listening to in one way or another. This one here is awesome.
Thanks for watching Newark in 10. I'm your host, Sienna Chanel.